good job. You know, we got the roof on, we got stuff painted in there. It was right away. We was ready to, you know, all we got to do is go get this, go get that. And there's always a long hang-up about stuff that we don't do. That's normal. We expect that. That's healthy, and that's good. Even things like SSI. Well, people we're dealing with, we give them a number and everything, they'll take care of it, they do that type of stuff. But, shoot, they've been at that information and the corrected number, Social Security number for years now. But I'm qualified, shoot, I'm 70-something years old, 75 years old. So I get disability or something. Like I was getting it. They just cut it off. The people that we might have handling all of the, say the paperwork for the things that come from the city. Guess what? Only thing we get come from the city, it says pay a $3,150 fine over at the Western, and the people are happy to give you a ride over, and you take your $3,000 something check, like we have money laying around over there. That's right. I'm just saying that we have to reflect on everything happened. We're trying to avoid the same thing that happened to Imam Jamil technically is happening to us, and I'm still here running around. There's a Volkswagen sitting out there, and it'll be there. It'll be there. Now I'm gonna go over it next week or the week after, and I'm gonna talk to the people in person, and I'm gonna tell them what I said on the video. And they can do what they want, but I'm gonna tell them, I'd like to have $25,000, and you can fix that, and don't call me and tell me you have it towed over. I paid y'all $400 and something, and I know that it was just a little certain thing, a little gadget, you know, and then they tell you, yeah, it's nothing but a so-and-so. Then they come back and say, well, they're gonna need a fuel pump. Then they take it out, and they said, oh, that's the wrong one. Put another one in. Then they charge you $400 and something, and you drive it over there, and it won't start again. Okay, I'm not gonna waste no time on it. I just say you can come and fix it. The car out there, the van, technically that's the best car. You know, you can feel so this car, this is good, this boy, it's tight. This is the best car. And another old van we have, it run like a bucket of boats. They just don't run like that one did. So somebody just messed up the steering column, because it's supposed to be a famous one that you can stick a screwdriver in there, take the thing out, stick a screwdriver in there and start it up, right? Like they stole, I had a white one. I used to have it parked back there, getting ready to sell it. The police stole it, and they called me, come pick up your what's the name around here, and they left the screwdrivers right there and the little ignition. I stick it in there and drive it on back around here. So I told them, I said, y'all gotta stop stealing my stuff. They ain't said we didn't steal it, but I said, y'all gotta stop stealing my stuff. Well, how did I know they were stealing my stuff? Because some of the brothers was telling me that that van is the kind that they can steal easy. Those Dodge vans of those years. And those same brothers had those same kind of Dodge vans right here. Probably remember they run around now. They got different ones. So I knew that what they did, and I knew that somebody was going to steal my van, because that's what they said that they do. But because you've been doing this so long, then it's automatic. Well, they're going to steal the van. I'm not going to lose no sleep. In fact, I'm going to leave the thing open half the time, so if you want to steal it, you don't have to break windows, you can come in and steal it. Go on about your business. Okay, those things are from repetition, from reflection, from doing this stuff all of this time, right? It's repetitive. Forget about the test, that you run through. But it's a lot about attitude. See, and the government's supposed to study its marks, or whatever they want to call it. When we was in Oakland, we'd have family night, and every family night, people was hanging around, and they wouldn't leave because they thought the poor Imam was there and he's probably lonely. So I would flick the lights. I said, y'all gotta go, man. Y'all gotta go. Because see, they would be lonely if they lived in a room in the masjid, right? They was thinking, he's there all by himself. He's not married. Well, one thing you got enough sense to do is get married if you want to get married, especially dangling white women and dangling everybody in front of you. You got to pick it. They said they said you were the most eligible bachelor. Not at the time, my big muscles, young guy, oh, kind of young. So, what kind of person they don't have any Negroes that have did 15 years of celibacy, right at the height of, you running the hill, you full of juice. Why? Because the job is more important than, you didn't have all the girls in the world. So this job, a lot of people don't think like that. This job is better than girls, and then the girls be talking too and stuff like that. So you don't want anything to interrupt your thought patterns. Imagine the time. That's why we could do everything we did here. And the habits prove it. There's no Imam that I have ever seen that over there where you are right now, we stayed upstairs. The only place you can stand up is right in the center, right? When you walk through the door.
Yeah.
But you can't stand up. If you walk 2 feet over here, you got to duck down. And that's where we lived. Me and my family, we lived up there. Okay? The other thing is, when we moved over here, we lived back there. That's 11 feet by 18 feet back there. And that's upstairs. It's 18 feet by 11 downstairs. But there's a ladder there. So that means there's a 4 foot something of the space left open that you take off from up there. And you have to take a bucket up there. People don't believe this, or they don't understand. That if you have to urinate or do whatever you do, you'll do it in a bucket. Because the people here are from the city. They don't realize that that's the way you're supposed to, excuse the expression. People will ask the question, does a bear shit in the woods? Of course he does. So what did the human being do before 6 months ago? Before push-button toilets? Or the shower is the water you can't take no bucket and wash off and then rinse off like that. That's not a bath. So y'all is crazy. They're crazy. They didn't have the privilege of living down in the country. It ain't nobody because we wanted to get the rent from over there, right? Next door, when we moved out of here, now the family was back there. My granddaughter, my daughter, and later on Fatima was born, but she was downstairs. And then they would get wet down there and stuff like that. But that's where we stayed, because we wanted to rent from upstairs. Right? And then the idiot is telling the people that Imam Musa was stealing money, and we went out there and paid their taxes of $50,000, then we paid another $22,900 something other for, they left garbage on the lot and would never pay it. I'm just saying, those are things that people can see. They actually happened. So what happened is that you're developing not only a certain attitude, but behavioral patterns that fit right in with your vision of what success is. Success is we need Masjid, school, businesses, geographical integrity, and with all of the stuff we've ran into from the United States government, we're still, I'm talking about, we have made no progress, physical progress, in 20 years. But we still got more than all other niggas in the United States. Can you imagine that? Right? I mean, that's ridiculous. And that means for 10 or 15 years, we've been paying tons of money per year just for having this. Right? Those are miracles. But those are miracles based on the leadership principles and the attitude that form those type of principles. Yeah, that's where they come from. And before it's all over, we definitely are going to do what we can to show the people, look, so we have, first thing we did when we moved here, when we bought the building, when we thought about buying the building, was to look all around here. Who lives in all these places there? That's right away, it's automatic. So we want to know, well, when we move in, what's the changes? Of course, big changes. Then the people like walk from right across the street and say, we want to be a part of this, just because they got hazel eyes and stuff from across the street, it don't make no difference. And they leave and then they come back and you see them around. It's okay. They've had people for years. You know, when poor Malcolm Shabazz was killed not long ago down in Mexico, he was following, because I was listening to the radio, that's why I heard on WPFW out there, that's KPFA. He said, yes, they had put him on the circuit, Malcolm Shabazz. Now, of course, some of the same people would invite him and they would invite me. And they would say, well, this is the guy here, he ain't never seen him pray. If he'd go to a big conference, he'd have a little cutie pie with him. And maybe he didn't even know that he wasn't supposed to show up with her. I don't know, maybe beat her on the side. But he was not, he had the name of Malcolm Shabazz. That was about it. But he didn't have the behavior pattern at all. He just didn't have it. And he was saying that, yeah, well, my sheikh is Sheikh Hashim Alauddin. You know, come to our masjid. Follow him out of Bayt. And he was a very unique fellow. First time I seen him at UC Berkeley, he was hanging around with an offshoot Iranian that wasn't in the main crowd, but an offshoot that we saw from time to time. And then we'd see him with these Imam Hussein flags. Imam Hussein, I said, boy, that's such a strange guy there. I mean, it's a giveaway, but that don't mean nothing. You got to follow it up. So we followed it up with watching and paying attention. And I was down in school, Al-Ghazali School, we raised funds. And I had, it was 3 young ladies, you know, like real young. Later on, they was in college, and that was it. I told her, I said, y'all may not know it now, but you grown. Y'all can't be running around, Imam Musa, da 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 da. Because I said, you know, I can look and I can see the way, I said, you girls are grown now, that's it. You know, not that's it, we can't talk anything, but that jubilancy type, you know, I said, man, these people don't know, tell them what your daddies, then they think something's going on, you know. But anyway, they said, yeah, Hashim is telling our parent, telling us, the kids at the school, we shouldn't listen to our parents and we shouldn't, you know. And so then I was sitting in there a couple of times, it was black. And then he was talking about a lot of my friends too. The way he was talking about them, he was in there with them. You know. So around, he was a young guy, he was part of the curly-headed crew, came from Berkeley, and all the young ladies from Berkeley, the Negro ladies, they would come to me and they'd say, hey, Imam Musa, can you talk to Hashim for me? I said, yeah, I'll talk to him. So I talked to him, I said, tender number 1, tender number 2, tender number 3. And you know, I'm black and I'm looking at them, they are nice, you know, African-American, college type, future grad, educated, you know. I said, yes, this is so-and-so. And so he told me in front of the Abdul Malik and all other girls, that Sister Bahi and them heard it, all of them. He said, you couldn't melt a black woman and pour on me. So, and then I don't know who he's married to now, but the first one was an Iranian lady. It's okay, I mean, you know, just because she looked white, and somebody had nothing to do with me. But he was clear. So you can imagine I'm sitting up in this class and all that's going on. So I said, hold it, man. And so I went to straighten all that out, and guess what? All the Iranians down there in Texas, and everybody that had been, we've been with them, they've been inviting me for 20 and 30 years at that time. They was all on his side. I said, oh, that was a big help though. That was a big help. And then him and Abdul Malik, it'd be Abdul Malik over here, him over there, and then I'm supposed to be in the middle. Remember, the way they get to your idea on everything is you get one over here, got this opinion, one over there got that opinion, and they run it back and forth between you, and you have to take a side, you have to take opinion, or they got you. That's normal. It's normal. I mean, it's normal for me. What's normal for me is you got to remember, nobody else got where we are today. Nobody got where we are. I know where we are, and there ain't no game. I know because I'm looking, reflect, not only reflect on them, reflect on everybody. Reflect on what's going on. Reflect on the government. Reflect. Just sit back and reflect. We're coming out of the period of reflection. We're going into a comeback period. That's where we're going. And we're going there. Why? Because during history, we always wind up there. Now, the beginning of there is the Masjid fully operational, all the property, that's considered normal. That's where we were, and that's where we, with Allah's help, we're going back. That's not even hard, it's natural. Because the real comeback is all of this other flamboyant, outrageous stuff that we want to do, influence in the direction of change in America and in the world. You got to remember, when you when you having programs with Hezbollah, you know, I had to tell Hezbollah, stop sending me over that A Street. Oh, from their publicity department, oh, we really appreciate our mutual cooperation. So when I got with him next, I said, here, you can do me a favor if you want, and stop telling the white man how friendly and how much cooperation you appreciate that we're having. They're your friends, you know what I mean? You're in programs together. You can imagine it, all the big programs. There's people from Afghanistan. Sometime the president of Afghanistan that got martyred some time back, he left the program in Iran, and he went back, and the guy had a bomb in his turban and blew the poor man up because he was a peacenik. Right? No, this stuff happens. Rabbani, you know, and the Syrian ulama, you know, like people want to know what's happening with Syria. Well, you know, Muhammad al-Assi is of Lebanese Syrian origin. Okay, so he's of Syrian origin because Lebanon used to be a part of Syria. It's Syrian origin. And I asked him, I said, what accent does Muhammad al-Assi? I'm talking to the Syrians now. Because remember, all the guys with their turbans and what have you, and their Syrian dress, you not only get used to their Syrian dress, but what is happening in Syria, right? And then, before some people get aware of where you're coming from, they're going to give you full information about all of that, what they can get from their Arabic language, and what you have to know that you need to know, right? That they're not going to tell you, right? Because number one, they don't know who you are anyway. You're a Negro from America, and so everybody from America is probably the police. They should be. If I was in the American system, I would send nothing but, I wouldn't send nobody nowhere. And the way the Iranians act and the way all the other people act, hey, they haven't got over the stuff they've been doing here recently. So the experience that we have had to reflect on is the ideas that we have accepted,